For a modern human, a thunderstorm is weather. For your ancestors 40,000 years ago, it was an existential threat. Imagine standing in an open landscape as the clouds slowly begin to change color and the horizon turns a bruised, heavy purple. There were no lightning rods to divert the strikes and no weather apps to predict the end of the rain. Without walls to block the sound of the sky cracking open, early humans stood exposed to a universe that suddenly appeared hostile. Before the first strike, barometric pressure drops. As air cools and wind vectors shift, animals go silent. Simultaneously, the human nervous system reacts. A sharply rising line tracks the threat response, interpreting subtle shifts as immediate danger. Survival instincts take over immediately. Daily tasks are abandoned to secure a natural shelter, and, most importantly, to protect the fire. In a world where creating fire from scratch was nearly impossible, losing an ember to a rainstorm could mean the difference between life and death. For ancient humans, those approaching dark clouds were not a passing event. They were an active, deadly countdown. The terror reached its peak at night. When a storm traps a group inside a rock shelter in total darkness, the environment becomes a chaotic rush of sensory overload. Thunder strikes with a sound so violent it shakes the stone beneath your feet. These unpredictable auditory explosions bypass logic and trigger the oldest primal circuitry in the brain, keeping the body in a state of high alert. This creates a state of sensory masking. The roar of rain and wind neutralizes the human ability to hear or smell an approaching predator. The evolutionary advantages that kept humans safe during the day are suddenly stripped away. Sitting in the cave, you can see nothing until a lightning strike occurs. For one split second, the outside world is illuminated in a flash of white light. Then, total darkness returns, leaving only the distorted memory of what you just saw. In this environment, the normal rules of survival stop working. The storm effectively reduces humans to a state of vulnerability they haven't experienced since they were small, defenseless prey. Huddled together, groups of humans watched their only source of light slowly weaken as rainwater dripped through the cave ceiling. Because hunting, travel, and outdoor labor were impossible, the storm forced humans into long periods of total stillness. They had no choice but to sit together and wait. During this forced confinement, physical closeness served a biological purpose. Gathering around the firelight and staying in contact with the group helped regulate the collective anxiety caused by the environmental chaos outside. As the hours of waiting stretched on, the silence of the cave began to change. With the outside world inaccessible, humans focused their attention on each other. These gaps of idle time provided the first opportunities for long-form communication, the sharing of memories, warnings, and survival strategies that would be passed between generations. To someone without a concept of atmospheric pressure, the sky appeared to be alive. To make sense of the shaking earth and falling fire, humans personified the storm. They imagined powerful spirits or angry ancestors behind the clouds, creating the first narratives to explain a universe they could not control. The isolating terror of the storm was the catalyst for human community. It forced the group into a shared space, where the first myths and cultural traditions were born out of the need to survive the night. Morning reveals a landscape where the riverbeds are suddenly full and the air has cooled. The dry land that struggled for water the day before is now soaked, signaling a cycle of growth for the plants and animals the group relies on. The rain that flooded the camp also brought the fish. The wind that knocked down trees cleared new paths for the herds. Humans learned to read these signals, recognizing that the arrival of the storm dictated the rhythm of their entire environment. Sometimes a lightning strike would leave behind a patch of smoldering wood. This allowed early humans to capture fire from the sky. By preserving these embers, they obtained the tool that allowed for cooking, protection, and migration into colder climates. By mastering the fire left behind by the storm, humanity harnessed the same force that once terrified them. You can still find traces of this ancient fear in your own body. It's why many people sleep poorly during thunderstorms. the brain remains slightly alert, monitoring the environment for unpredictable danger. When the power goes out or a severe storm approaches, we still instinctively gather in common rooms and lower our voices. We are still following the prehistoric drive to seek shared space and collective safety during environmental chaos. Modern architecture and radar apps shield us from the rain, but they haven't erased the biological memory of the storm. Our nervous systems still carry the instincts of ancestors who had nothing but a cave and a flickering fire. The sudden flash of lightning is a primal echo. It's a reminder of our fragility beneath the sky and the terror that originally pushed humans to build a civilization.